You find yourself venturing into a world that is unfamiliar to you in every single way. All you have to your name is your wits and a broken phone that has no internet. But wait, you have the MidFall podcast in your hands. Here you can listen to the tales of your three hosts, Luis, Josh, and Jared, as they venture through their own creative woes and whatnot. Get ready to be entertained through your wildest dreams as you conquer and face this new threatening world.
Hello everybody, how's it going? Thank you for joining us for the second episode of the, I guess what you would call the second season of the MidFall podcast. I'm joined by my friends Jared and Josh.
Yo,
what up?
Josh and Jared and Josh. So
yes, sir.
I wanted to kind of take a second to update everybody on like what's going on and whatever. Not that it really matters too much, but it kind of does, because we're finally got samples for our first t-shirt launch. We're gonna be trying to release a shirt based around a certain concept, training arc concept. That's what the first t-shirt's going to be called, or the first drop itself is going to be called. It's going to be centered around I'm going to be fighting in next month in boxing, my third amateur fight, so that's kind of perfect timing, obviously, to align with the concept of the drop. So that's why we decided to kind of go ahead and run with the motivation that we got. So you can go ahead and expect t-shirts soon in the near future, as well as potentially other things. We will be trying to get more consistent with our content and all that good stuff. So, on to this topic. Actually, one more time before I go ahead and move on. Jared actually has a EP coming out, a mixtape, if you will.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and talk about that really quick, if you will, for me.
Alright, of course. Alright, audience. Have you ever been to New York? Have you never set foot in New York? It doesn't really matter what you think. Yeah, that's crazy. I have a new EP coming out called NY Lifestyle Pack. Here, you'll get the New York quintessentials without the Tims. I'm sorry, they were just too much. They were just too much for everybody. However, I'm really excited about dropping this. This is gonna be something that I've been preparing for quite a bit, and I wanted to make sure that everything sounded nice and perfect for y'all. It's going to be on all the major streaming services. It's going to be on Apple Music. It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be on Tidal. Whatever you think of is going to be there. So it's coming out on August 9th, 2024. So get ready for that special time.
I personally went ahead and listened to it as a, special, call me special.
It is Louis certified.
And yeah, no, it's great. All of Jared's music is always great to listen to, and it's always creative. He's really good at getting those creative concepts out there. So now, speaking about music, for my topic today, I actually wanted to ask you guys, how do you discover new music? Like, what is your guys' means of discovering new music? Is it as simple as just kind of going on to Spotify and, finding a new playlist, or what?
I'll go first. I think for me, I always am very chaotic with finding new music. I'm never like, oh, this is the method, I'm always going to do this method, I'm always going to go on this website. I usually do use Spotify because that's what I subscribe to, but for me, it's I load up music from my playlist or my like music, and then every now and then I search up a song and I play a song that isn't in like music. And what ends up happening is it, takes it off of that. So the next song is a song I don't know. So it just starts playing music that is either in my like music or potentially not, or just doesn't play music I have at all. And usually it's like that I find some of my favorite music. So that happens, and I hear it just randomly on the drive, and I like it as I'm driving because I have like the screen right there. And then other times I'm at the gym and I hear a song playing at the gym, and I'm Shazamming it while I'm at the gym. Like at my gym in the locker room, there's always like music playing near the entrance, and it's always really good music that I typically don't listen to. Sometimes it's like older music, sometimes it's new music, sometimes it's like electronic type music, and I'm like, this is pretty good. And so I just Shazam it standing at the entrance of the locker room, like nearby the couches to sit, and just like waiting for Shazam to track it because it's a bad connection in there, and hoping Shazam gets the song right, and then I download it on Spotify. And then sometimes I just make a playlist with friends. I get their taste of music onto my playlist afterwards, if I vibe with it, if I mesh with it really well. So it's really like word of mouth and hoping I'm at the right place at the right time, where I find like the best music for me.
Oh, damn, that's super creative. That's a super creative way of doing it.
I love Shazamming, dude. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I do that too sometimes.
I was like some real Jarvis, scan this. Tell me the box.
Yeah, no.
It was real life Iron Man. I would say for me, I follow a lot of music pages on like Instagram and Twitter. So a lot of times I'll just hear stuff from there, but I also follow like a lot of my own favorite artists, so I get normally updates from them as well. So, I'm always kind of set up for that. Even just now, like The Weeknd just released some trailers for his next album. I am curious. I want to see how he ends that trilogy that he's been working on. So yeah, that's normally what I do. I normally am like keeping up with like the social media aspect of it.
Yeah, that's dope. No, you put me on to that new what was it? Denzel Curry, dude.
Yes, sir. The Zeltron brother.
Yeah. No, dude,
He's
that was
good.
pretty
I like
good.
him.
I liked it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Pretty good album. Pretty good album right there.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I listened to him at one point in college, and his voice is really nice with like how much he does in his songs, because I feel like there's a lot going on for some people, and for me I really like how he takes control of the beat and still is able to convey the message within it, while also sounding like, if you're just listening to it, it all sounds super random, but it's super fun to listen to at the same time.
100%, 100% for Denzel Curry. Dude's super creative in what he does.
Yeah.
We can go ahead and watch him in the Suicide Boys in San Francisco on October. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Along with a couple of the artists, but yeah.
Nice.
Leading on to it. Who else wants to take the next?
Oh, you know what? I think I'll take a swing at things here. This actually kind of goes into your question just a bit here. But I want to ask you, homeboys, if you could partner up with somebody in your creative field, who would that be?
That's a really good question. I have to think about that for a
That is a great question,
second.
and I have the answer right for you.
Well, yeah, I know you got the answer, so why don't you just say it, man? Just say it.
Dude,
Say Suicide Boys or Bones.
I would
100%.
work with Scrim, producer for the Suicide Boys. Just because, like I said,
That's
that
a
was
good
my
idea.
first intro to music. Well, what I mean is, like, this was the first production that I heard, at least, like, because I was never into rap and stuff like that growing up. Although I wasn't, like, I had a dubstep phase in 6th grade. But that's when, dubstep was, like, really big, around 2012 time. So I was never really into music production. And so I when I started listening to them late high school, I was like, oh, well, if I produced music, this is exactly what it would sound like. Like, this is, like, wow, I can't believe that they can create this much atmosphere and this much, like, dark stuff within rap. So, yeah, because I mainly listen to, you know, Slipknot, Korn, and stuff like that, so it was cool to find that, and then for that reason, I would like to work with him, with Scrim. And then also, you'll know how much of a plus side this is, Jared. He uses Logic, so even better.
Yes, sir. I remember you telling me about that. That's pretty sick. I remember hearing you played some music from Suicide Boys, and they were using like bits and pieces of a sample site that we also use, Splice.
Splice, yeah, and then one of the most popular songs, Paris, GarageBand.
It's beautiful. You know, it's pretty satisfying when you realize that bigger names, artists and producers are using like the same stuff that you are, and even like to a lesser extent on like weaker kind of DAWs or platforms. I don't know, I get a level of satisfaction from it.
Yeah, definitely, because Bones still uses GarageBand to record his vocals, and I mean that's the thing, right? Like when you look at mainstream music, sometimes it gets a bad rap for how not creative it is and how kind of plain it is, but that's kind of sometimes the ease of something that sounds nice, is that you can get caught up in the it's too little, like that's too easy, like you know what I mean? So sometimes it can get discredited by the low effort. So good sounding things can get discredited by them being low effort.
100% on that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Yash.
I think for me, if I could, like, you said dream collab, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Anyone you want to like partner with and collaborate with.
Honestly, so my field isn't necessarily in the music genre, but there's a few people I would like see myself collabing with just because they're in like a similar sphere. Like for me, gaming would be like the main thing, but if it's outside of gaming, I'll answer that too. But with gaming, I think it'd be fun to collab with like, this is a little bit out of the sphere a little bit too. Like, have you ever heard of the YouTuber Flight Reacts? I'd love to just play him in a basketball 1v1 and just see what happens, because I know he games, but I want to play him in real life and see what happens if we hoop together. But that would be like one of the options. Like, I'd love to do that. And then another thing is like any group channel. I could see us in the future like doing like a group activity with another group channel. Any group channel, really. I think it'd be super fun to collab with another group and just have our senses of humor mold. Like, I think it'd be so fun for, I don't know, whatever group really, but like doing challenge videos and just like competing as our group against their group and seeing if we could beat them or they can beat us. I think that would be so funny. So maybe not someone in particular, but hopefully we can get MidFall to the point where we are doing, you know, content in the same space together instead of being separated by distance like we are currently, and be able to like do videos like that, collaboration with other people, not even just ourselves, because I know that's the goal for us, but being able to do that with other people would be super fun in my opinion.
Crazy thought here. What about them RDC boys, huh?
Oh yeah, that would be so fun.
Doesn't Josh actually, there's a very famous meme picture. There's a mythical creature named Jorse, and the original picture is actually Josh standing next to who is it again?
So it's next to Desmond, I believe, from RDC World 1.
Yeah.
I saw them all filming like an Among Us video at the gym that I go to, and then I didn't want to annoy them and like get in the middle of their recording process, so I just didn't do anything. And then I caught Desmond in the locker room as I was walking out and he was walking in, I think, and I was like, oh, I like your content, good stuff. he's like, oh, thanks, man. And then he started up a conversation with me. So he's actually super nice. I really like him a lot as a person from what I gathered. And then he's like, do you want to take a picture? And I was like, yeah, he's so down to. So then I got a picture with him. And then our friend Cyrus, I think. Was it Cyrus?
Yeah.
I think he photoshopped the picture. He took the picture, took the top half of my torso,
Yeah.
and the head, of course, and the arms. And I was doing like a thumbs up or something like that, or like a peace sign, I think. But it looked like if you're giving a thumbs up in front of your chest, but the peace sign instead. And so I was doing that, and he photoshopped it on top of a horse. And so now I'm like a centaur, and we call it the Jorse. It's like a little sticker we have in our Discord chat as a group of friends. It's really funny though.
I'm gonna have to check that out later. What the hell is that?
It's so funny. Yeah.
I even made a role called the Jorseman.
Yeah,
It's like the four Jorsemen of the apocalypse. The Jorseman.
No.
So yeah, that would definitely be a dream collab. I think we could get to that point someday. It's just gonna take time, and we have all the time in the world. We have the effort for it. We'll do it for
brother.
sure.
10 years. 10 years, brother.
Maybe less.
Let's say 5.
Less.
3. Let's say 3.
Yeah. I think we can do it within 5.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see. We'll see then.
Within 2 years,
Alright.
I'm going to be spawning FaZe Jarvis.
Alright, man. Who wants to take the next spin?
It's you, Yosh.
Yeah, I think I have something that I was typing up earlier. I have 2, but the one I'm gonna bring up is kind of in this realm of like creativity and stuff. Like for you, I know we all have things we're dedicated to. Like Luis is with boxing, and Jared with music. Luis also with music. But outside of the things you already know, what's something that like a hobby or skill, I guess, that you want to like pick up and learn within the future or the near future? Like for me, it would be photography, for example. At some point in my life, I would love to just be able to take photos all day and just see how they turn out. Like even if it's just nature photos, I'd love to do that someday once I'm retired or something like that. Maybe it would be like getting to that skill level for when I'm that old to be able to just take photos all day. What hobbies or skills do you want to pick up that you don't currently do? Like not like, oh, I want to try a new form of boxing. More so something completely new that you don't do.
I wanted to go rock climbing for a while, or pick up, rock climbing, like as a sport maybe, because at the, what's it called, festival thing that like the city that we all originate from, has, it has a festival every, Memorial Day, and I remember as a kid, it would have a rock mountain, rock climbing wall or whatever. And I remember like when I was, I believe 6 or 7, I went on that thing like 5 or 6 times like in a row just to get to the top. So I've been wanting to rock climb for a while. Besides that, I will let Jared go ahead and give his answer, and I'll get back to you on something else.
All right. One thing I would like to pick up, I like to learn how to draw. I feel like that would just, I feel like that would just be a lot of fun to do. My drawing skills are absolute garbanzo beans. The best thing I can draw is maybe a stick character with like, that's about it, stick character. So, it'd be fun. It'd be fun to do it. I'd also, maybe like pick up maybe like an iPad and get a pencil on that and just start just drawing things. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun.
Any means to be able to express ourselves creatively, like I've kind of gathered, is essential.
100%.
So then what's stopping you guys currently? Is it more so this is something I'll definitely do in the future, but I need to focus on what I'm doing right now?
Within rock climbing, I'd say, but at the same time, mainly just I don't want to go alone. But,
I'm actually down to go rock climbing when I visit.
yeah, definitely.
I've done it once, it's really fun.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that could be a freaking video of first experience going rock rock climbing.
Yeah, I'm down.
But besides that, I'd probably go with what Jared said. Or honestly, I would like to get better at Photoshop, I guess, or just like photo editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I've delved into a little bit, but want to actually acquire that as a skill.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Jared? Do you think there's something stopping you from doing that goal in the future, or do you think it's more so you got to focus on what you're doing currently, or what?
For me, it's a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Like, my laptop that I'm currently using right now is real just ass. It's just real ass right now. It's struggling to even to just like watch YouTube videos on it. Like, I'll pull up a YouTube video, it'll work fine, and then give it like 10-15 minutes, all of a sudden it just starts like lagging in like chunks throughout the day, and also the battery is just boo-boo cakes. So, you know, I'm like, okay, maybe I should just go into an iPad, because I do want to pick that up. But I also know that I kind of need to like plan it out a little bit more. I feel, because I do want to start like using that for like music projects and like other things in the future. However, you know, it's just all about the planning. It's all about the planning and really learning how to utilize that new system to get the product that I want to, you know, put out there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I'm kind of in the same boat as, I'm in like in between what you guys said, where for me, I feel like I'm a bit stretched thin with the things I'm doing currently, and picking up photography would be great, don't get me wrong, and I do want to do it, I really do. Like, I'm already taking small steps towards getting my mindset for that. Like, I recently bought this Camp Snap camera, Luis knows, it's like one of those digital, quote-unquote, disposable, even though it's not, it's just lensless digital camera, and I think it's nice. Or what's it called, a faceless digital camera or something like that?
Yeah, it's
but
just a viewfinder,
screen-free.
Screen, yeah.
Exactly. And it's just one of those simple things that got me into it even more. When I went on trips this past year, I was taking photos nonstop. So I do have like the passion for taking photos. It's more so the skill isn't there for the passion. I have to match the skill with the passion, but also the timing has to be right for me, because I want to work on this more so than I want to get into photography. And photography will be done in the future. I will be getting more into that, and that'll be like an avenue for me to explore artistry, taking photos of other people, helping friends get good photos, you know, for their Tinders and their Bumbles and stuff like that. But yeah, I know we've done that. Luis has done that in the past for our friends. I think it's so cool that we've had friends do that, and I think it's just fun. I think photography, drawing, like Jared said, rock climbing, they're all forms of like either expressing your body or your mind or your feelings. And I really want to get into that. I really want to find more ways to do that, because sometimes, and I'm sure you guys probably feel the same way, sometimes you feel like you don't have an avenue to express yourself fully. Like, you have your music, you can express yourself in some way, but then there's like certain other feelings that you need to emit or let go of, that maybe the gym helps with, or maybe like going on a run helps with, because you can think while you're running. But then there's just, sometimes you need another outlet to emit that energy, I guess, is the best way to put it, for me at least. And I feel like photography would help me with getting that calm energy that I want. I used to be really rowdy as a kid, and then I calmed down, and then I got a little bit rowdy again, then calmed down. So I'm trying to find things that help me calm myself, because living in society today in America, like driving and stuff, definitely makes you more antsy, like constantly. And I feel like something calm like photography would help me with just constantly feeling chill. So yeah, that's definitely something I'll do in the future once I'm less stretched thin.
Definitely for me too. I definitely want to learn more just the whole business thing, growing in that sense, and managing money a little bit better, and that's about it. Just learning this process. Yeah. Exploring this
I feel like
basically, and then
sorry?
exploring this like monetarily and creatively.
Yeah. I feel like that's a thing I've noticed where it's easy for people to, you know, design concepts and come up with a concept for a business, but when you actually put it into practice, different factors you don't expect come up. And that's something that we're dealing with the clothing job. We're just going through, seeing what works for us, seeing what we do or don't like for our clothing brand that we're trying to get for MidFall. Like for MidFall, we're not just trying to make t-shirts. Like we're trying to make clothing that, you know, each drop, each collection, I guess, would have a meaning that either we can relate to or we think our audience can relate to in some way. And so we're trying to convey that through storytelling, through artwork, artistry, through the podcast, even just straight up saying, hey, this is what the meaning for us is. What's your meaning for it? If you guys want to comment on YouTube or something. But yeah, it's kind of what we're going for when it comes to this process. Just putting our words into action and then seeing if our words or our concepts worked or not.
Definitely.
100.
I would kind of like to transition this. That was very well, nicely said by Yish. But I wanted to transition this into my last topic at hand, which was, which movies would you guys recommend everyone watch at least once? Which?
Ooh.
And for some reason, I don't know why I like this movie a lot, but The Shawshank Redemption.
Classic. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah. I really like it. I would probably also put in The Sandlot in there. Sandlot's a good movie. Dare I say
Zombieland? Like a classic route.
No, just...
Yeah, that's a good question. Give me a second. I'm gonna look at my list.
Damn it, I have to look at my list.
Alright, well...
Keep going. Tell us why.
So, for The Shawshank Redemption, I'd say... Although it feels like a long movie, the pacing is just so good. And once you sit down and put yourself for a second in Andy Dufresne's shoes, you're like, okay. Like, I don't know, there's a reason for everything. There's kind of a conscious movement behind everything that this man is kind of doing. And the other one that I said, which I already forgot before Zombieland, is
Sandlot.
Oh, Sandlot, dude, Sandlot. I don't know. Like, I feel like as a kid, it romanticizes the group gang aspect and like the roles that you kind of fill in as a kid, like the roles that you like fill into your group and stuff like that. And since it romanticizes that, I feel like it makes you want to have that as a kid. And I was just lucky enough to have that, like in a couple of circle of friends, but mainly like the most important one, which was Josh and our other friends. And not we have that now, but. Yeah, I'd say that it kind of encourages that little kind of community as a kid, and that chasing those kind of experiences too. Yeah.
Well put.
All right, Jared, do you want to go or you want me to go?
You go ahead.
Okay. So there's plenty of movies I would love to recommend to people. I looked at my list and I remembered of a movie or two. And I'm going to name 4. I'm going to give a brief reason why, or description maybe. And then I'm going to save the best one for last. And I think Luis or Jared might know this one because I've mentioned this movie so many times in the past. But I'm a big fan of movies that make you think, make you feel. You don't have to think too hard. Not like, oh, what was the meaning behind the ending? Or what was like the real ending? Which ending was real? Was this a fake ending? Were they still this or were they still that? No, more so like... oh, that's nice, like, the message that the person was conveying in the beginning that they don't want to do something ended up being the thing they did, and it ended up working for them, or something along those lines, right? Or maybe opposite of that. And so the first movie I'm going to start with is, let me Google it just to make sure I have the right name. Yeah, this movie's called The Greatest Beer Run Ever. It came out in 2022. It's like a war comedy, rated R, with Zac Efron as the star.
Oh.
And it's kind of like 1967 Vietnam War. America thinks they're the top dog. They think they're so cool. And the main character, Zac Efron's character, I think his nickname is Chicky. And Chicky is like subscribed to that mentality. His sister's protesting against the war, and he's like, "Sister, what are you doing? Why are you protesting? Blah, 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 blah." And she's like, "Dude, like, you're being an idiot. Stop doing this. Stop, just thinking that people are going to war and they're coming back heroes. Like, people are dying," and he doesn't want to believe it, right? And he goes to bars, getting drunk every day, and then he kind of talks himself into a dare of going to Vietnam. And the guys in his neighborhood that grew up with him in high school, whatever, in middle school, elementary school, just going up to them in the war zone and just giving them a beer because he feels like they need a beer, And he actually ends up doing it. He goes to Vietnam, he gives people beers, and he sees the atrocities and the horror stories of everything, like the grossness, the vileness of the war. He sees a good portion of it, not all of it, but he sees a good portion of it. He meets really nice people while he's there, people that try to show him the truth even though he's still delusional or something like that. Whatever your opinion was on the war, the movie's really good. The movie really is one of those moments where it's like, yeah, this guy really learned his lesson about, assuming the worst or assuming the best, I guess I could say, about the war, like thinking America's in the right or thinking America's the best. And I think it's so beautiful the way they did it. I think it was an Apple movie too, like Apple TV movie. And I don't know if anyone knows this, although it's annoying to be able to watch Apple TV movies because maybe you don't have access to it. They make some of the best movies. Like, I think I was at my cousin's house watching this movie one night while he was like dead asleep, and I was on the living room watching it. This movie was amazing. So I highly recommend this movie. One of the best movies I've seen in the past few years. I think I watched it last year. One of the best for sure. And then I'm going to name two more of the four. One of them's called 50-50. 50-50's a movie with Seth Rogen and what's it called? Joseph Gordon-Levitt or Levitt.
Yeah.
If you know Joseph Gordon-Levitt, any movie he's in, he's always, especially back in like the 2010s, is always going to be super good. It's just about a guy like finding out he has cancer and then realizing a lot of people in his life and his girlfriend at the time just aren't the right people for him. And so he's realizing who's really there for them, who's a true friend, who actually cares about him, and, maybe the people that he didn't realize he cared for. So it's a really good movie that just makes you realize, I'm lucky to have what I have. And then 500 Days of Summer, also Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and then that girl from New Girl, what's her name again? The main chick.
Don't tell me.
Zoe
Deschanel.
Oh, yeah. Zoe Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's a romance movie, but it's also not a romance movie because it's just about him. It's really, really good because the timeline in the movie is like going back and forth. You're like, okay, where am I now? I'm 7 days from summer ending. I'm this or this, I'm like days ahead, days behind. I'm in the future. I'm in the past. I'm in the present. I think it's just beautiful the way that the film's shot. I think it's really nice. Just a fun movie. I don't want to spoil too much about that one because I think everything that happens to him is just super interesting to watch. And then the last movie for me is another romance movie. As you can tell, 3 of the 4 movies I named have some romance involved. The last movie is About Time. That one, time travel movie, dealing with consequences, romances involved with it. It's like a young guy figuring out he can time travel, and it's just super interesting. I don't want to spoil that one at all. Just really fun to watch. Definitely recommend that one. I think it's on Netflix. Those are the movies I think everybody should watch, regardless of if you like romance movies or not. But The Greatest Beer Run Ever, About Time, those two for sure. 50-50's so well done. And 500 Days of Summer is a fun watch to me. Those are my opinions.
Nice.
List.
Sorry for my rant.
Yeah,
that was my rant.
That's a nice thought out list, yeah.
That's a solid list, brother. That's a solid list. Alright, I guess it's my turn now. Let's show you here on my list. So I got 3 movies. For myself.
Nice.
The first one, I'm gonna start with a Studio Ghibli movie, Kiki's Delivery Service. I assume a lot of people have already seen this movie.
Never.
But if you haven't, it is a coming-of-age story about this girl who is a witch, and she basically moves into a big city to just start living there. And it's really adorable and real. And it's real too. I feel like anyone like around like their 20s or even their 30s can really kind of relate to this, being just like, or heck, even someone who's, you know, just moved to a new city just as a kid. I feel like anyone can really relate to this movie about just being in a new environment. Things are changing. You're not exactly the same as you were going in. And it's a gorgeous movie. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. My second movie would be, let's see here, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Crazy.
You may have heard that one. It was during 2023, I believe, when that movie came out, around the same time as Disney's remake of Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it blew it out of goddamn water. Guillermo del Toro is a wonderful man, a true genius. And it's beautiful how he was able to make it more realistic, or not realistic, but more so in tune with the original Pinocchio, as in like the book, not like the original Disney movie and whatnot. And that one, in the book, it's way darker than you'd normally think. I mean, heck, you like friggin' I assume he like gets like destroyed a couple of times, like Pinocchio, similar to how it was in that Guillermo del Toro movie. But I love how he has the whole message of, you know, animation is not just a kid's thing. Like, it's a medium. Like, it's a medium in of itself. You can tell so many stories from it, and it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And last but not least, my third one. That one, also done in 2023, was the Puss in Boots movie, The Last Wish.
Oh, wow.
Good. Oh my god, blew it out of the friggin' water. Like, if you were to compare it to the previous Puss in Boots movie to this, night and day.
Really?
Night and day. It has very similar animation style to Spider-Verse. Not like one-to-one, but in more so in like that kind of stylistic perspective. But it tells a wonderful story with such a simple concept of the idea of a cat having 9 lives. And Puss in Boots is on his last one. So he has to pretty much go on an adventure trying to just he goes on an adventure to try to get a wishing star to get his lives back. And he learns a lot from it. And it's wonderfully done. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I like that movie a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. And
Actually, funnily enough, I haven't seen Kiki's Delivery Service yet, but I'm gonna watch it. I've heard so much good stuff about that one. Like, I know everyone raves about Howl's Moving Castle and stuff like that. That's fair. I've watched that one a few times. I see the appeal, but it's not my type of movie.
Mhm.
I really like coming-of-age movies. I feel like I relate to coming-of-age movies because, you know, at one point I had to move away, and that was my, like, coming-of-age thing where I couldn't, you know, hide behind the personalities of my friends. I had to develop my own personality, become my own person, especially, like, entering college and moving away from family. You don't have the support of just, like, always seeing your family every day and the familiar faces that you grow up with. So I'll definitely watch that movie.
Please do,
sounds good.
boy. Please do.
Yeah. But actually, you made me think of a movie that I've been trying to remember for a while. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. It's a Hulu movie called Big Time Adolescence with Pete Davidson. Have you guys ever seen that?
Was
Dude, that one.
Was that the one with
It's
like
the one-
the firefighter or something?
It
I might be
might
thinking
be. That
of
might be
the-
the King of Staten Island.
Ooh, I
but-
think it might have been that one. It might be
Yeah,
that
both
one.
are decent. I think Big Time Adolescence I liked a little bit more because it's somewhat a coming of age movie. It's more so a realization type of thing. So I guess that's coming of age, where the main character is like some teenager whose best friend is a grown man who refuses to grow up. Pete Davidson's the guy playing him, and I think it's like one of those movies that really forces the main character to make mistakes and learn from them, and then realize, this person may not have the best interest for me. He might just be trying to have fun or whatever, and maybe he's trying to protect me, maybe he's not, but it's time for me to grow up so that he can grow up, type of thing. It's like really, really nice the way that convey messages like that. And that's one of those movies that surprised me when I watched it. I think I had just gotten the vaccination for when I watched that movie, so I was half awake, but it was really good. Which reminds me of Puss in Boots, the one you mentioned, The Last Wish. I was half awake on a flight watching that, and then it woke me up because I was like, holy crap, this movie's really good. What the heck am I watching? It's so funny.
Nice.
Oh, I do want to bring something up. This is a little bit off topic, but it's on topic for what Jared said earlier about his EP with New York. Did you guys know today is the day? We were in New York this week in 2023, but today is the day that Jared and I went to the MLS game, the Major League Soccer game together.
Oh my god.
Yeah, today we were in New York last year, and Jared and I went to that soccer game at the nighttime.
Freaking that city
That was
feels,
fun.
baby.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's actually pretty funny. I had no idea about
Such a
that.
crazy memory. Yeah, I got it on my phone photo reminders an hour ago, and I forgot about it until now.
Lovely. All right. Let's take this conversation. Let's go a whole ass 180. We're gonna talk about video games real quick. All right. Okay. So, obviously, we've all played Pokemon, have we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Go ahead.
You're the common denominator, Luis. All right, bet. So we can all agree that Pokemon has been in our lives, and it's incredibly popular. However, even though the newer games have their merits, don't get me wrong, they definitely haven't had the same kind of feeling compared to the older ones. So I want y'all to do something with me real quick. I want y'all to basically elevator pitch a Pokemon game of your liking. It doesn't have to be necessarily the core games. It could be almost set up like a spin-off. It could be its own new take on Pokemon itself. Give me an elevator pitch as to what would be a Pokemon game that you would like to see.
Okay, I have two. These aren't original. I know fans have come up with these before. The first one I would say, Pokemon game where you become the Pokemon, just like Mystery Dungeon. We need that back. We need a Mystery Dungeon game where you can become a Pokemon or maybe control multiple Pokemon in a party, and it's really about you getting back home. I think that would be fun. I don't know, Mystery Dungeons have done that in the past, but I really feel like with the graphics quality we have now, that would translate so well and be so beautiful. But then the second one, this is more so a Pokemon game that leans into the dark aspects of Pokemon and the scariness of it, that would, take inspiration from the manga and really try to communicate, how serious the Pokemon world could be if, Game Freak or Nintendo or whatever really wanted it to be that way. I think that would be so much fun. A very, not people are dying everywhere, but this game is scary. It's, things are realistic. Pokemon aren't just there to be captured. It'd be really funny. Really fun.
All right. Now, Mr. Luis, what would you like to see?
As far as Pokemon, maybe something a little bit more open world, with what was done with that one Legend of Zelda game.
Like Breath of the Wild kind of setup.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. They would do pretty well. Or that plus making it kind of like a Souls game / Elden Ring.
Yeah.
That kind
Oh my
of
gosh.
That would be funny.
Yeah, just something hard like that.
Yeah.
Be something like that. I'd probably like to see.
God, that sounds freaking crazy. I'd like to see that
just thought of two more.
Hmm.
Imagine Phasmophobia, but Pokemon. That would be funny.
With like
Like in the
ghost types
forest.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yup, like the forest, ghost types, the Slenderman video game, like Pokemon are hunting you. You're not hunting Pokemon. You're just trying to get out of there, save people or something, or find clues as to what's going on, you know? That would be fun. Game Freak hired me. And then another one, we need a second one actually. Pokemon Snap coming back would be fun. I think they did a recent one. But then another one would be running like a Pokemon daycare, and you like, you know, take care of Pokemon, you feed them, and then maybe like you take care of Furfroos like you did in X and Y. You groom them, you get their hair cleaned, you dress them up. Like a Pokemon dress-up game where you run a shop doing it, like keeping the Pokemon clean, bathing them and such. I think that would be fun. Like a babysitting place, but for Pokemon.
I see it.
I could definitely see a demographic for that.
Yeah. What about you, Jared? What are your elevator pitches?
Yeah, what would you think?
I was thinking a very similar idea to Luis in terms of an open world kind of concept for Pokemon, but I also thought, what if they kind of made it like an MMO RPG, you know? Like instead of it just being, you know, your typical kind of like console game or even like handheld game for a Pokemon, instead it's like totally online. You can explore all the regions that it already has. You can collect all the Pokemon that's already there, but you can also interact with other people as you go. I think that kind of concept, obviously Game Freak ain't going to do all that, but that kind of concept I feel like would be so interactive, so much fun, and they can kind of like play around with it as it goes, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that'd be a really cool idea.
Yeah, I could see something like that, like mixed with. I've been getting into this game called Baldur's Gate 3. Maybe I'll be able to play through on the MidFall channel of that, but that game it forces you to think, and your decisions really change how things go in the future. So a Pokemon game where, especially with what Jared just said and like the Souls-like stuff, maybe too, where your decisions do affect like the people and the Pokemon you can encounter in the future, like the people you'll battle in the Elite Four per region or something like that. Like the people you help level up and become the new gym leaders or something like that when you come back to them to fight them again. Something like that would be really cool in my opinion. Just every decision leaving a little bit of a mark on the community of the game.
That would be fun.
Yeah, Okay. I did have one more thing I wanted to bring up. This is my first topic I wanted to bring up, but I wanted to find a way to say it, and honestly, it's probably the best way to say it now. My last topic, this one was... I'll give an example after I ask the question, just so you guys can see what I felt like was mine. But I feel like we've all had moments where we had to really persevere or really push ourselves to our limit, maybe even past a limit of some sorts. And so my question is, what's a moment where you pushed yourself to the limit and felt accomplished after doing so? Like regardless of win or fail, for me, it was, Luis and I and some friends going on a road trip, and we went to Utah and we hiked the Living Room Trail. For me, I was a little bit I was pretty out of shape at that point because I had this belief in my head that I was injured on my knee. And my knee was not at its best, but it was also because my legs were weak. So the lack of muscle around my knee created instability. And so I thought, I'm just going to let myself stay injured and hope to go to a doctor someday. But instead, I decided to push myself through and persevere and, climb the trail with everybody, even though I was last place the whole time. Super exhausted, drenched in sweat, felt like I was going to die. But I kept pushing. And everybody would wait up for me, which was nice. And I just kept pushing. And I feel like if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have gone right back to the gym after that trip and subscribed to a gym membership, got myself plugged into the gym again, and tried to be active again for my life. So that was my moment where I pushed through and I felt accomplished. What about you guys?
That's dope. I'd say I'll probably put in my first fight as the example. So I ended up losing my first fight. because I took too many punches coming in and crossing the distance. Back then I'd say I was probably a little bit more, well, not probably, I was a little bit more reckless on my entries, so I cared less about the punishment that I needed to take just to go in. And so that ended up costing me the fight, but I felt like I put up a really good fight, and the guy was maybe about 4 or 5 inches taller than me. So yeah, and every time I crossed the distance, this guy would freaking just clinch me, and it was annoying. But we're gonna do better this time, and that's what matters.
Yes, sir.
Because your lungs are just burning at that point. So yeah. What about you, Jared?
For me. I would have to say it was probably during the creation of my first album. Just to explain to everybody, the way that I did it was I combined my previous 3 mixtapes that I had on SoundCloud and then put it together with the 4th one, which I just put all together like an album. If trying to understand the concept, imagine like Trilogy from The Weeknd, where he put all those 3 and just slapped them all together. It was like that. I originally put it out there and I was listening to it, and then I realized, oh my god, all of it sounds horrible on here. Like, none of the songs sounded good. So basically for about a week I was remixing and mastering about 35 songs, and like I said, in a span of a week. And that was probably the moment where I was really pushing myself, because that's all I thought about. I didn't do anything else. It was just that I needed to get this done, and definitely made me burn out a couple times from it. Like, it's anytime I go through a mastering phase, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta do this again. But I was happy that I did it. It was a lot, especially for that many songs and just that little of a span, but I'm happy that it all turned out well and I was able to put it out there.
Yeah.
Good. That's dope.
Sir, yes, sir.
It's really good that you pushed through, dude.
Yo.
Yeah. Well, I guess that kind of concludes this podcast. We're going to be ending it on a good note on that kind of perseverance stuff, because that's what we'd like to try to do more of, I guess during this whole podcast stuff, we'd like to also pass on some knowledge that we've learned from our early adulthood, now that we're in our mid-20s, although I know that's not, that might not seem too drastic of a difference or an age gap, but I guess it's easier to learn from the person that's a step above you and not 10 steps, because the relatability can just go away a little bit easier. So we'll be dropping in some sort of knowledge and or experiences of our own and how we overcame them as well, some hurdles. With that being said, we appreciate everybody for joining us on this one. Appreciate Jared and Josh for sharing their stuff and joining me today. We're going to go ahead and catch you guys on the next week. Look out for Jared's EP. We will probably have one more podcast by the time that that comes out. So, we'll remind you guys again. But until next time, have a good day.
Yes, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Bye.
Boy.